Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here, and I've got a review for you today. You've been waiting on this one. This is the review of Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home was directed by Jon Watts, and it stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Marissa Tomei, Jon Favreau, Samuel L. Jackson, Kobe Smulders, and features Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I'm going to give you the story without any spoilers, give you the things that I enjoyed, the things that I didn't like, and then my grade, so buckle up, studs. Before I get into the review, thank you very much for clicking on this video. It means a whole lot to me. Like the video if you enjoy it so far. And if you're a fan of this sort of thing, or even TV reviews, even top 10 lists, click that subscribe button. And if you want to know as soon as any activity goes on in this channel, hit that notification bell. You'll know as soon as a video goes up. If you didn't pick up the story from the trailers, this follows Peter Parker as he's going back to high school after the snap is undone in the events of Avengers Endgame. They're on a school trip and they're visiting various scientific places in Europe that have some sort of significance. And while they're on the trip, they get attacked by some sort of elemental monster. This is where they first encounter Mysterio, and he is on the side of us good guys trying to fight these monsters that took over his own dimension. He teams up with Spider-Man and Nick Fury, and they take down, or at least they do their best to take down these elemental monsters. As time progresses, it seems to Peter Parker that things may not be exactly what they seem, and he has to figure out exactly what's going on with the help of a couple of his classmates as well as Happy Hogan. That's the story without giving anything away, and you really want to go into this knowing as little as possible for the sake of the Spider-Man movie. Yes, you need to have watched previous Marvel movies in order to understand exactly what's going on, especially Avengers Endgame. But the less you know about what's going to happen in this movie, the better the ride is, because this movie is quite a bit of fun. This really is a love letter to those people who really enjoyed the comic books. And yes, most comic book movies are, but this one in particular, because it really homes in on what makes a character so beloved. And we see that with Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. If they didn't handle Mysterio right, the entire movie is garbage. Maybe not the entire movie, but you get what I'm saying. And the point that I'm making here is that Mysterio, as the so-called villain of this movie, is spot on. It is so well done, and they incorporate several things from previous movies that make it all work. And I wasn't expecting them to do the callbacks that they did. But in order for you to buy Jake Gyllenhaal's performance, it has to be believable. And I'm not talking about the elementals from other dimensions and things like that. I'm talking about Quentin Beck's actual backstory. I cannot say anything more because you need to watch this for yourself. It is just fantastic. On to the other side of the leaf, you've got Tom Holland's performance as Spider-Man. This is actually his 5th time putting on the red and blue spandex as the wall crawler. And it's like riding a bike. He is so believable as Spider-Man, and he is so enjoyable as Peter Parker. That unsureness, that uncertainty, he likes Mary Jane or MJ in this movie, and it is incredibly adorable. Unlike some other relationships that we may see in this, we want this one to actually work out. And I can't really give you anything more other than that, but it's quite a treat to watch. You've got some other supporting characters. Samuel L. Jackson plays Samuel L. Jackson, and the 3rd time that he's been Samuel L. Jackson. Yes, I know he plays Nick Fury, but he really is playing Samuel L. Jackson in this movie. And you have the return of Maria Hill, played by Kobe Smulders, and she plays pretty much Nick's number 2, and she does it very well. There are some other surprises that I will not ruin, and if you get on the internet and accidentally ruin them for yourself, I am very sorry, because this, and I'm being honest, this has probably the best mid-credit scene in any Marvel movie. And yes, I know that sounds like hyperbole, but I usually don't say the best when I'm talking about these sorts of things. But this one, there are a few things that I didn't exactly love about this movie, but in all honesty, they make sense for the story. There are some things about the visual effects that at times don't look quite real. And most of them have to deal with the story. And so that's not something that I'm gonna ding the movie on because it was done like that on purpose. There is another instance where something happens, and it's something that I didn't like in Spider-Man 2.1, and it kind of happens here, but it's a little bit more believable here. In this instance, I'm not going to tell you exactly what, but if you've watched Spider-Man 2.1, you might have an idea of the scene that I'm talking about. Another thing that I didn't like, but this is completely, totally my personal preference, is that I believe Spider-Man belongs in New York. Spider-Man is a very New York-centric character, and to see him in Venice and other locations that I'm not going to spoil just kind of seems like it's a little bit off. But if you're gonna call a movie Spider-Man Far From Home, I get it. Like I said, it's just me. I love seeing Spider-Man swinging around Manhattan. That's just my cup of tea. But overall, this Spider-Man movie is very enjoyable. Just as enjoyable as Homecoming, in my opinion. The grade that I'm gonna give it is very solid. We're going with an 89. The story makes sense, and that's the most important part about it. If you're gonna have a story about a guy from another dimension and he's being chased by knockoffs of monsters from the Fifth Element, you know, it's gotta make some sense in the long haul, and it does. The visuals are spectacular, but sometimes they look a little fake for the story's sake. So if you kind of look at something and think it looks a little weird, that might be why. But the acting is completely on point. All the kids do a great job, the adults too. And when it all gets wrapped up, it's a movie that I really can't wait to see again. And again, it's one of those things to where there is a mid and a post-credit scene. As I said, the mid-credit scene is the best credit scene I've ever witnessed, and the post-credit scene is going to set up for something much bigger in the future. So that's my review of Spider-Man Far From Home. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends, and as always, this is Cameron with CBN Reviews. We'll see you next time.